ich freue mich, dass einige gekommen sind heute mit dem schönen Wetter. Einige von extern und aber auch intern die Kollegen. Kann mich erstmal kurz selbst vorstellen, bin Sabine Otten. Hatte vorhin auch schon erzählt, dass ich schon seit 2010 da bin, seit den Anfängen der Stiftung und in den verschiedensten Bereichen schon gearbeitet habe. Und freue mich jetzt, dass ich unseren Besuch vorstellen kann. Leonidas Momburi ist zu Besuch. Er arbeitet bei Nature Tanzania, unserem Partner in Tansania. Er ist schon seit 3 Jahren dort und ist auch, arbeitet in einer Gegend, also im Nordwesten von Tansania, ist seit 3 Jahren, wie gesagt. Er ist viel im Feld unterwegs, hat eine Ausbildung im Naturschutz und wird auch noch erzählen, von seiner Liebe zum Naturschutz und was er da für die Kronenkraniche macht. Leonidas ist hier, das kann ich vielleicht auch noch kurz sagen, weil er jetzt seit einer Woche auf Einladung des NABU an einem Training zum Kranichschutz teilgenommen hat. Mit der Kranichschutz Deutschland hat eine Woche mit internationalen Experten aus Frankreich, Spanien und auch in Deutschland auch im Norden von Deutschland, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, aber auch Württemberg, habe ich gehört, Kraniche beringt und sehr verschiedene Aktionen dazu gemacht.
Thank you. Maybe I start with a short bit introduction. My name is Leonidas Momburi. I'm the crane conservation volunteer in Tanzania, specifically in northwestern Tanzania, and I'm working under Nature Tanzania. But we are being funded by our main donor, NABU. But we also have Crane Conservation German and the Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association. The contents of the presentation, we have the spatial distribution and status of the gray crowned crane, but we also have the threats facing the gray crowned crane in northwestern part of Tanzania. But also we are going to see on the project implementation, the findings, and finally the recommendations and conclusion. So an image here is a picture of the gray crowned crane that I'm going to talk about for almost the whole presentation. It's one of the birds. It's one of the 15 extant species of the crane in the world, with which within 45 years it has been decreased by 80%, and its range was caused by the loss of its habitat, the illegal hunting, trafficking that led to be justified in endangered species. So it's one of the birds that faces a lot of challenges in Tanzania. Also, the same threats like the one that have been shown in the history. So the population of the gray crowned crane in Tanzania, it has been reported the decline of population estimate fewer than 1,000 by Morrison 2019, but also the country has less than 2,000 individuals, and no real evidence has suggested that there are more than 1,000, and much of its concentration on population size was done in protected area and not areas outside protected area. So on the littoral investigation done by Nature Tanzania on the area outside national park, specifically in northwestern part of Tanzania, several threats were being observed in the field. One of which we have the illegal hunting of the crane, but also the collection of eggs. You can also see the loss of habitat on their breeding and roosting site, but also the traditional heroes. The map there shows the areas that the population says were being collected specifically in the protected area. And for my project site, I'm based on this number, but there are different areas that they did the population size of the gray crowned crane, but it was basically on the protected area and not outside protected area. So efforts from Nature Tanzania since 2020 were going on addressing the conservation challenges of the grey ground crane. And 10 sites from Kero and Karagwe are being monitored. In the field, you can see different data are being collected, as Vivian has already elaborated on his presentation. We were able to meet different people, farmers, fishermen, on collection of the data to see how they live with cranes in their area. But also we were able to move on wetland along River Kagera as one of the main river that it contains different tributaries of the wetland, and these cranes mostly spend most of their time in wetland. So we had also to make a little bit move along all wetlands alongside River Kagera. Threats observed, you can see poisoning of the crane. One of the picture here shows 2 cranes were killed. It was near to the farmer, agricultural production, and aside here you can see the mango fruits, but also the bag, the handbag, and aside there we also found some of the ashy powder, blackish in color. We thought maybe it could be poison. So these people always engage themselves to kill. It's like a conflict between the farmers and cranes. So once the cranes visit their farms, the farmers do react by killing them, and it's difficult to trap the crane, to trap these cranes. So they do use this poison. We thought maybe it could be poison because it was blackish in color and it was aside the dead cranes. And unfortunately enough, these people also, after killing the cranes, they also make the revenge. They also take the cranes at their home. They take them as food. They do believe that poison cannot kill twice. So once the cranes are dead, then they take them to their home and take them as food. So it's like a revenge to this bird that they are distracting our farms. But we also have the problem of cattle step up on the chicks. We also have the problem of kids capturing the chicks of the crane, mostly done by these cattle keepers, but also the kids, when moving around the wetland, they have tendency of capturing these chicks, thinking that they can rear them as chicken and later to be taken as food. But we also have the threats on uncontrolled banning in the wetland, mostly done by the fishermen, believing that the only way to open the wetland to do our fishing activities to ban the wetland. So mostly appear in the dry season, they do ban the wetland in order to open the way so that they can do their fishing activities. Also have hunting of adults and trapping of chicks. People also do engage in trapping and hunting the adults of cranes for food. But the picture here, you can see the chicks, small chicks of 3 to 4 days were captured and were found in someone's chicken, preparing them to be reared as chicken. So we also have an issue of traditional heroes, a big challenge to visit these people, the witch doctors, but I tried my best to make a friendship to one of the leader, and I got a little bit information on what they do, on why they trap the cranes, and on why they send other poor people on catching the cranes so that they can give them the money. And badly enough, he told me they also have the trade, that there are some people above him that they always make an order to him, and one crane could cost 250,000 Tanzanian shilling. But mainly they do trade them, that they do believe by those people who engage themselves in extractions of minerals, the gold mineral, that believing once they get the head of the crane and being burnt and mixed with other drugs, they can be easily they can easily extract they can easily predict the area where they can go directly and get these gold minerals. So, but also some people some doctors also do prepare the drugs for making other people to be admired. In family issues, maybe husband has a quarrel with his wife, so when the burnt crane ash is mixed with other drugs and someone is given, your husband or your wife can admire you more prepared, maybe if you have any cortisol, something like that. So these are some of the threats that are being occurred in the northwestern part of Tanzania, but also we have an issue of predation. It's usual. Nature always select nature, so an issue of the foxes, the jackals disturbing the crane's nest, catching the chicks of the crane is usual normal. So these are some of the threats that are occurring in northwestern part of Tanzania. About the project implementation, Nature Tanzania with a big support from NABU, the Crane Conservation German and the RWCA are now implementing the community conservation approach, protect and conserve the crane in northwestern part of Tanzania, but mostly we do engage community in conserving the cranes, as these cranes spend most of their time in the wetlands, and many of these wetlands are private lands of people. So in order to protect the cranes, you have also to consult, to be friendship, make a good collaboration with those people who own the wetlands, so that they can see, you can see each together if you can conserve the crane. Also, Nature Tanzania is working with RWCA on the transboundary approach on conservation of the crane. As the map there you can see, Kenya has elaborated. It was one of the GPS tag crane that had a nest in Tanzanian side, but the tag was put in Rwanda, but it had a nest in Tanzanian side, and it was making several movements in Tanzanian part. So we came up on collaboration on conservation of this crane, as we always know that birds have no boundary. They can move here, they can move there, everywhere they want. Where they feed, they can get feeds. Where they feed is peace for them. So here you can also, this one is just put the map that can show how we also collaborate in collection of data. In the other side, it's Tanzanian side. Here are data collected by the volunteer champions in Tanzanian side, but on this greenish here up, the data is collected by the champions in Ugandan side, but also here, it's the data collected by champions in Rwandan side. So we do have the champion. We were able to, Nature Tanzania were able to recruit 10 conservation champions who are volunteering. They are just only paid a rich amount of money for transport, so they have at least to take water, some transport, or moving from different area. And these champions do work twice per month, on the 1st and the 5th of each month. They do collect the data using the Survey 123, and then send them to the owner of the program, whereby all of us, the Nature Tanzania, even me, we are able to access the data. And these conservation champions were also provided with uniform. We are also provided with smartphone, where we put the application of the Survey 123. But also this champion, we also provided we also meet with them on the training workshop. So we shall see it when we move forward. Here is what we do in the field. As I told you, one of our big roles is to engage community to conserve the nature. We do have the awareness programs, education in schools. Here you can see it's only one picture, but I have many of them in different schools. So we do have education in different schools. That picture there, it was one of our champions had attended the awareness program in one of the schools we are working with. But we also do meet with community on their meeting, trying to educate them on the conservation issues about the crane. You can see the photo there. These were community sitting, but here in front side to make them know at least the conservation ideas. We do also do the workshop with conservation champion. We do train the conservation champion so that they can help us in giving the awareness, as the area I'm working is a little bit a big geographical area, so I cannot cover it alone. So these people also, we do meet with them, we train them, give them the conservation knowledge. So when they go back in their field, in their area, they also have their plan of meeting in communities, but also in schools. And here the photo, it was a meeting I had with one of the village leaders on sensitization on conservation, building capacity to at least help us also to raise the awareness to their community. And the picture here, it was also another champion, but for me, I was here. So we do also monitoring programs. Nature Tanzania is also making an organization in correction of the roosting, breeding, and feeding behavior of the crane, at least to know the trend of these cranes, at least each year. What are the breeding data? Are the chicks increasing to fledge, or are the chicks dying each and every year? No more chicks that are fledging. So we do make some data correction on the breeding, especially breeding data. In August 2022, we were able to be supported by NABU RWCN Crane Conservation Government to make the survey of the crane in Kyerwa and Karagwe district, but in the total number of 95 very grown crane were counted, whereby the 86 were adult, 80 juvenile, and only one chick. And we were also able to see only one flock. They will place the big geographic area we are working, only one flock. And here is a map showing the area we based doing our survey. As you can see here it's Tanzanian side, but here it's Uganda, and we mostly based on the wetlands alongside the River Kagera River. And here up is Uganda. As I told you, we do based on breeding records. On my annual report, they are well arranged, well elaborated. We do collect the nesting data, the hatching data, the fledging data. On the nesting data, we do make allocation of different nest codes of different nests. We were able to see recently this year, 2022, November. Most our breeding season normally starts on late November up to early May. So we were able to put allocation of different nest code in different locality, at least to see if we can monitor them up their fledging time. And we were able to get the nesting records, but also the hatching record and the fledging records. As you see here, I can say it's like a final result from the nesting. We had a total number of 21 nests in 11 localities, but the number of eggs, the total number of eggs in 21 nests were 52 eggs, and the number of eggs that were hatched were 41, and the number of eggs that were not hatched were 9 eggs. We do try our level-based not to disturb the crane while checking the number of eggs. Recently, we got the drone from NABU, but I didn't use it because before I didn't have training, but I was able to take my training of drone on February, which took 5 weeks, and I succeeded, and I was awarded a license of driving the drone. But previously we are just using local methods of, we trained our champion to sit a little bit the place where they have already seen the nest. And before we had already trained the champion on how to see the crane that is making its display on nest preparation, on mating. So they really know that when they see the crane maybe doing like this and this crane is preparing itself to make the nest. So they make a little bit monitoring on it, if it's 1 or 2, 3, depending on the area where it is. And we were able to check the number of eggs at least after early in the morning. The crane has the tendency of moving out from its nest, and late in the evening also it has the tendency of moving out from its nest. So at the time the crane move out from its nest going feeding, the champion will go at that area and see the number of eggs on that nest, and then after it makes it come off ready to let it not to know that there's someone that has entered here. So at least we were able to count each number of egg in each nest. We also had been able to find the hatching success and fledging success. Out of 11 localities, the hatching success were 76.3%, but the fledging success were 25%. You can see the hatching success is a little bit high, but the fledging success is down. The chicks are getting different challenges from time of hatching to time of fledging. We also have the roosting data that represented all of the roosting sites in the project areas, where we had 19 roosting sites in 9 project sites, which had 111 adults, but also 23 juvenile and 2 chicks. So it was short elaboration on the breeding monitoring records. We have just recently started on the last year 2022 up to this year May 2023. Few of the recommendation: we recommend monitoring activities so as to continue building the capacity of the champion, so that they can have more passion on doing their works when they're in the field, but also regular involving of the schools on biodiversity and nature, but also securing site important to play. And this you can start also by renting the private habitat, especially during the breeding season. As I told you before, that most of the wetlands are private owned, so at least to rent some of the places that these can mostly do their breeding, their nesting. Regular involvement of the beneficial groups, fishermen and cattle keepers on reduction of uncontrolled fire outbreak, but also a coordinated crane sensor to be done at least after every 4 years alongside River Kagera, to provide a baseline data on transboundary conservation. But the project also still emphasized in implementation of bringing of the cranes, at least to be able to see the distribution of the cranes in their habitat. Conclusion: the awareness program has helped more, as now people are little bit providing the cooperation on conserving the crane. Previous breeding record had almost nothing on the fledged chicks, but recent breeding record, there are some of the chicks that are fledging. Provided shortage of funds to improve the livelihood of the community dedicated to protect the crane, Nature Tanzania is still sensitizing on engaging community to protect the crane. Thank you.